you're born. You're there. Your mother looks at you, and you're a healthy baby boy, and she says, you know what? We're going to call him Anthony. He will be Anthony. They have a whole Lion King moment where they lift Simba up. Simba, all that you see is yours. You know, so we have this moment where they name us. But Jeff, here's the funny thing. We don't have self-awareness. We have situational awareness. We're not aware of who we are. We're just aware of the environment that we're in. This is the vulnerable state that we're born in. And then what happens is people who are dysfunctional, people who are flawed, people who are doing the best they can with the limited information they have, begin to raise us and tell us who we are. Now watch what happens. We don't respond to them calling our name until we hear it enough. Because if you hear anything enough, you will begin to respond to what you hear the most. That's why we're so proficient in things that are outside of the kingdom. Because that's what we flood our ear gate and our eye gate with things that don't edify, that don't build us up. So we're proficient in bad things. And you ever have people say, well, watch what you say because, the power of life and death is in your tongue. And you say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it on Friday. And you talk positive on Friday, nothing happens. So you say, oh, this positivity stuff don't work. Well, the reality of it is you've just been proficient. You can't have 25 years in a bad system and then want one day of a new system to fix it. We're proficient in what we've heard the most. So what's happened is they've called you, and they've called you, and they've called you, but they did more than call you by name. They began to describe your character to you before you had character. So what we're living is not our own belief system. Most of what we're responding to in life is the belief system that was given to us. We inherited a dysfunctional belief system from the people around us. And I'm not saying that they're bad people. I know my family loved me. They did the best they could with what they had. But when they said stuff like, oh, you better go to vocational school. You know you don't like school. I don't know. You don't try that. See, a lot of times, and I'm just sharing straight from my heart today, minimize your dreams because they've seen you get hurt before. So it's not that they're necessarily bad people. They don't want to go through the pain of watching Jeff get hurt again. So we'll say, no, Jeff, don't try that. Just stay local, man. And we hear that. And every word that comes out of someone's mouth, good, bad, or indifferent, is a seed. And that seed finds its way into our hearts. And we start meditating on what we heard. And what happens? Doubt creeps in. And we say, you know what? Maybe I will pull back a little bit. Maybe that's not for me. I better play it safe. Playing it safe is not for God's people. We take the risk and we reap the reward. The difference between a risk and a chance is the information you get about the situation. A chance is just somebody doing something willy-nilly. A risk is when you have done an assessment of the pros and cons and you deem that the processes are greater than the situation that you're in right now. So I want to talk about self-lies. There are three levels that we operate in. One is as a saboteur. Now, a saboteur, by definition, is someone that works to derail an objective. That's what to sabotage means, to derail an objective. And the greatest saboteur that you'll ever have to deal with is the one right here, the enemy. That's the saboteur. When you first get that thought, and it is 3:30 in the morning, you get that thought, I'm going to make millions off of this. I'm going to change the world with this idea. So you get up and you toss and turn, and finally your wife, if she's anything like mine, tells you go in the living room and do that. Don't cut that light on. So you're out there in the living room, you're scratching stuff down. It's 3:45 in the morning. Your creative juices are flowing. You can't believe you're up getting this idea. By 5:30, you can save the world and you're a millionaire 4 times over in your mind. By 7:30, you're in the shower. You cannot wait to get to work to tell somebody this idea. By 9:30, you're standing by a water cooler or a coffee shop, right there waiting for people to pounce on. They walk in, you say, you're not going to believe this. Man, I got the idea that's going to change the world. Are you in with me? And they look at you and go, weren't you selling Tupperware last year? Didn't you do 5 minutes before? Wait a minute, you were doing prepaid. In fact, I never got my perfume from Mary Kay. And they start reminding you of all the failures that you've done. Can I tell you that your biography is not your history? Where you've been doesn't mean jack. Where you're going is the most important thing that you ever in your life. Shift your perspective to where you're going and get your eye. There's a reason why the rearview mirror is small, but you got two side mirrors that are even smaller, because your windshield is the thing that you need to be looking out of. I'm not going back where I came from, I'm going forward. So you have to deal with the saboteur. Second thing is you have to deal with the amateur. Now, amateur is a little bit different. An amateur is somebody who's working with great passion, but not proper skill. That's an